Hello everyone. In this session, we want to talk about transferring the operational master roles and seizing the operational master roles. The question we need answered first of all is why would I need to transfer these roles and under what circumstances would I need to transfer or seize these roles? You might want to transfer a domain level operations master role if the domain controller that currently hosts the role is inadequate in some way. Meaning, if the domain controller no longer has adequate space, if the domain controller is old, or has some problem with the drive, maybe there's a bad sector on the drive, and you know that at some point in time that domain controller will fail. If the domain controller fails itself, meaning that it's no longer operational, what you'll have to do is to seize the role. If it's working, you can transfer the role. You might decide that you have a 2003 server and you now want to upgrade to 2016. You need to decommission that domain controller. Take it offline. We already talked about the roles and the importance that the roles play. So the roles need to be on another server. And that is why we need to transfer these roles. We want to take a look at how we would transfer the domain level operations master roles. And to do that, we need to open Active Directory users and computer snapping from the administrative tools. So we need to either be logged into the target domain controller, which is the domain controller that we're going to transfer the roles to, or if we're on another domain controller, we would need to connect to that domain controller. We're now going to access Active Directory, users and computers. And we're going to right click on the domain. And we're going to select Operations Master. We see that we have three roles here. These are the domain level operations master roles. You have the RID master, and to transfer the RID master, you simply click on change. The server that you're on presently would be at the top. That would be the operations master, and you want to transfer the role. So you have to remember, either on the target server or you have to first connect. Once you connect to that target server, you're going to have the name of the target server here at the bottom. And you click on change. And that goes through the process of transferring then the operations role from the present server that it's on to the server that you have listed here at the bottom. The same thing goes for the PDC role. Let's click on PDC. All you need to do is to connect to the target server. Click on change, and the role will change from the present server to the target server. The same thing for the infrastructure master. You must have the present server at the top and the target server at the bottom, and then you click on change, You click on OK to confirm the change and press OK until you have closed the dialog boxes that you're working with. So that's how we transfer those roles. Remember, we needed to go to Active Directory users and computers, right click on the domain, and then you click on operations master role. Let's close the operation master role. And we want to close off Active Directory users and computers, because next we want to take a look at how we will transfer the schema master role. Transferring the schema master role is a little bit different than the other roles because the Active Directory schema snapping must be connected to the schema master in order to perform this procedure. In order to do this, we have to run a command. So we're going to right click on the star icon and we're going to select run. The command that we want to run is regsvr32 schema management.dll. So we're going to begin by typing an R. And since we already have this command in the box, we can see it here. So we're simply going to click on it. Remember, the command is regsvr32 space schmmgmt.dll. I'm going to click on OK. Once we have done that, we can see here that the command has been run successfully, so we want to click on OK. We now need to enter the MMC. So we're going to go back to run, right click, click on run. And we want to type MMC in the run box. Type MMC and click on OK to enter the MMC snapping. And here we are. We want to click on File, Add Remove, and we want to select the MMC snapping. And here we are at the top, Active Directory schema snapping. So we select that, click on Add to move it over to the right hand pane and select OK. So we now have the Active Directory schema. Remember, you needed to run that command in the run box in order to be able to go to the MMC and pick up the Active Directory schema. We want to right click on Active Directory schema and you want to click on Operation Master. The same process that we had before with the domain operational masters. You need to have the system that has the operational master at the top here, and at the bottom you will need to change to the target system. Once you've done that, you click on change, you click on OK to confirm and to close the box. Let's close the schema master window. The next thing that we want to do is to transfer the domain naming master. Let's finish closing off this console. And for our purposes, we don't want to save the console. The next thing we want to do is to go to the domain naming master. To transfer the domain naming master role, we go to Tools. We have to select Active Directory Domains and Trust this time. Remember, for the domain level roles, we went into Active Directory Users and Computers. For the Schema Master, we had to run the command at the Run window. Then we had to access the Schema MMC by clicking on File, Add Snapping, and we were able to right-click on the Schema and select Operation Master. But for this one, the domain naming master, we have to go into Active Directory Domains and Trust. We want to right-click on Active Directory Domains and Trust, and then we want to select Operations Master. And we can see we have the same type of box where you have the system, the server that has the operational master role on it at the top, and at the bottom you need to change to the target server, which is the server that you want to put the domain naming master role on. Once you've done that, you click on change, click on OK to confirm, and that's it. That's how we transfer the operational master role. We want to look next and see how we go about seizing the roles. Remember that you can seize a role if the server has stopped functioning. The server is dead, it's no more, you still have to get that role. So this seizing has to be done on the target server. The season process does not have a graphical user interface, so it has to be done from the command line using the command NTDs util. Remember that the season operation should be performed only if you are absolutely sure the original flexible single master operations role owner will not be brought back into the environment. So we're going to go to the prompt. We're going to right click on the PowerShell prompt and we're going to click Run as Administrator. So at the command prompt, let's click at the command prompt. We're going to type NTDs util. And you want to click on enter to execute that command. At the ntds util.exe prompt, you want to type roles. That's ROLES. You want to click on enter to execute that command. And you now are at the prompt FSMO maintenance. We're going to type the word connections at this prompt because we need to connect to the server, the target server. So we're going to type connections. And we're going to click on enter to execute that command. At the server connections prompt, we actually want to connect to the target server. This is the server that will be seizing the role. So we type connect to server.
I'm going to turn on my caps lock here because I want to just type the server name. Doesn't matter. But I want to turn it on, so I'm going to turn it on here and type DC because DC is the name of my server. And I'm going to click on enter. You can see here that it's binding to the DC and it says connected to the DC using credentials of the locally logged on user. Once I am connected to the server, then what I want to do is to type Q to quit and go up a level. So I'm going to click on Q. Let me take off my caps lock. I'm going to click on Q. And then I'm going to click on enter, which will take me back up to FSMO maintenance. At this prompt, this is a prompt that I want to seize the role. If I am going to seize the name and master role, I'll type right here, seize name and master. If I want to seize the infrastructure master, I'll type seize infrastructure master. If I want to type seize PDC, I'll type seize PDC and so on. Let's try it out, okay? We're going to type seize schema master. And we want to click on enter to execute that command. Once we have done that, we're going to get a prompt. The message that you can see here. Are you sure you want server DC to seize the schema role with the value below? And if that's what you want to do, you can go ahead and click on yes. And you will do that for any of the other roles that you want to seize. It's going to take a few moments because the tool tries to contact the old owner of the FSMO role. And after it fails to do that, because remember that server, if we're seizing the role, that server is not functioning, it's dead. So after the tool tries to contact the old owner and it fails, it will actually seize the role. And that's how you seize any of the roles. And the replication will do its magic. One important note to make here again is to make sure that you don't put into the network the old domain controller. That's in case you decide to go and fiddle around with it and try to get it working. No, you don't want to do that. That domain controller has the same FSMO role you just seized, and it's just going to mess up your topology. Even if when you are transferring the role, just make sure that you demote that server. That server can't come back online. It will mess your network up. As you see, transferring or seizing the FSMO roles are not difficult processes, but sometimes they are necessary. Also, knowing what each role does is important because that way you know what to expect and how to fix a problem. This is the end of our session on transferring and seizing the flexible single master operation roles. And I want to thank you for listening.